Hello, it's week 28 of season 5 of the Andy Griffith Show. This week's episode title is The Arrest of the Fun Girls. Barney?
Andy and Helen and Thelma Lou and I are making our plans for the evening. We want to go out to eat and then go see a movie. And they want to go to Morelli's to eat. And I say the special on Monday night is cream chicken. I just don't happen to like my main dish concealed in a heavy sauce. And then Andy realizes that we can't go out to eat tonight anyway. We've got a conference call coming in from the state highway department. And Andy and I will have to take the girls up after that call and after they see the movie without us.
And then you hear some car screeching and speeding through town. So you and Andy run outside and chase them in the squad car and stop them. And you see it's the Fun Girls from Mount Pilot, the ones from last season when they came to town and wouldn't go away and got you all in trouble with Helen and Thelma Lou.
And they tell us they were trying to get us to stop them and give them a ticket. And a crowd starts gathering, and I yell, "All right, let's break it up. Don't you all have anything better to do than block the sidewalk? Now move on out of here." But Andy says let's not make a scene. Let's just dump them at the county line. But when we get them there, they won't leave. They're all over us. They make us promise to come to Mount Pilot soon and visit them and give them a ticket then. And then they leave. So Andy and I go back to the courthouse and we have our conference call and then we start to go pick up the girls from the movie, but then the Fun Girls come in. They've got food and music and they start dancing with us. And then they want to play jail. And I tell Andy, Helen and Thelma Lou are waiting on us. What are we going to do?
And Andy says leave them in there. He'll go take Helen and Thelma Lou out for a bite to eat and then take them home. He'll tell them you had to deal with a few prisoners. And then he'll come back here and y'all will figure something out.
And he tells the Fun Girls he's going out on an errand and he'll be right back. And he turns the lights out on the way out. And I go in the back room and I try to get some sleep. And at the diner, Helen and Thelma Lou can't understand how prisoners came in at night. And Andy says they came from the state police. And then Helen thinks she smells perfume on Andy. Meanwhile, at the courthouse, Otis comes in drunk and he lets himself into the cell. And they all start yelling at each other. And I come out and tell them to hush.
And back at the diner, Helen and Thelma Lou want to come by the courthouse to try to cheer you up and bring you a sandwich, even though Andy tries to talk him out of it.
And back at the courthouse, I've sent Otis home, but the Fun Girls are awake and playing music and wanting to dance. And I say no. And they say I'm no fun. And I say no, look, when I'm off duty, I'm fun-loving. When I'm on duty, I'm Darney Fife, Deputy Sheriff. Now I'm going to turn this light off. If you want to stay, you go right in that cell and be quiet. If not, go home. And then Andy comes in. He's left Helen and Thelma Lou in the car, and he says let's take the Fun Girls out the back. But they start dancing with us, and then Helen and Thelma Lou walk in. And they get mad, and I say, now wait a minute, Thelma Lou. Don't jump to conclusions. You don't know what we were doing here. You don't know at all what we were doing. What were we doing, Ange? And he says we were releasing the prisoners. But Helen and Thelma Lou don't believe us, so they get mad and leave.
So Andy gets mad and tells the Fun Girls, just get out of here, please. And then they get mad and leave.
And Andy says it's been quite a night. We lost 4 girls and 1 drunk. And I say, well, I tell you where you blew it, Ange. Letting Helen and Thelma Lou come over here in the first place. And he says that's not his fault. They just did it. And then Andy and I are mad with each other. And the next morning we try to apologize and make up with the girls, and we get them to agree that they'll come for supper at Andy's house. But that night, when the 4 of us come in the house, the Fun Girls come out of the kitchen and start hugging on us again, even though Aunt Dee tried to warn us. So Helen and Thelma Lou get mad again, and they leave again.
The next day, y'all hear and see a car speeding through town again, and you think it could be the Fun Girls again, so y'all decide to ignore it. We'll see you next week for episode 29.